Fear what you don't know. Thank you for coming to my channel. This is my first tutorial video within Unreal Engine. I'm going to be going over the Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 enemy health bar. So basically how to make that main bar and then the segment bars that go under that in Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3. If that segment was done, then it goes from 0 to 1. I'm going to make a variation that is possible for it to be 0 to 1, or if you want, you can have it deplete at the same time as the main bar, and we will go over that a little bit more detail at that time period. The first thing that we are going to work on is the health component. That is the core of this UI and making this UI work. I'm not going to make any enemies on in this. This is just a strictly a UI tutorial. If you want to see me make enemies and AI, definitely let me know in the comments below. Please also let me know if there's any other systems that you would like to see from me. I'm working on this. I also worked on the Kingdom Hearts lock system with the targeting and being able to switch through them, and the rectile being able to do a soft lock and a hard lock. So I do have other systems that I could potentially show, and I will slowly but surely be making more of this channel grow and have more community following. So please stick around for the ride. I hope that it is a long and very enriching experience. And then with that, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to content. We're going to pull this open a little bit, and I want to keep this organized, so I'm going to do blueprints. And then within blueprints, I'm going to make a folder called actor components. Ooh, no spaces. There we go. From there, you're going to go to blueprints, blueprint class, and you're going to do actor component. I'm going to name this AC Health. Now, there's going to be a lot of functions as well as event dispatchers and a macro that we're going to be putting in here. So we're going to start with some of the variables. So the first ones that we're going to want to add is current health. We're going to make this private. And the reason why we're going to want to make this private, or personally I make it private, you can do whatever you want with it. I don't want anything touching get health unless I specifically call for it. So it just makes sure that I call a function for it. So we might as well just get that out of the way right now. Get current health as a function. So this is going to just have an output of a float, current health out, and we will just put the current health in there. So with that, that'll be the getter. And oh, we want to make this pure. So don't forget to make this pure. That way, when you call it, it comes with the green label instead of the blue label. So if I take off the pure, it's blue now with the execute pins, which we don't want the execute pins. We just want to be able to just grab that instance and we of current health. So with that, that's one function done and one variable. We're making stride slowly. Next one that you're going to want to make is max health. Now this one you're going to want to make instant edible and expose on spine. This is because each enemy or actor is going to be able to have a different max health. So current health actually gets driven by max health at the beginning of the component being activated. We want to be able to change it and adjust it per enemy and maybe even per level of enemy. So maybe we have a level 1 enemy and a level 2 enemy that has a little bit more health, then we can just make that adjustment within the instance. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to make another function, call it initialize health. Now this is going to go on event begin play. There's a lot of different things we're going to be doing on event begin play. So we're going to slowly go through those. So the first thing, we can just do this just to make sure that it is set up. Ooh, wrong one. So we're going to press Alt, then drag current health, and then we're going to press Control and drag max health and then put it into current health. we're going to align that with Shift Alt S, the way I just did. And then I'm just going to move that closer. We're going to create another function called health per segment requested. We'll say that. We'll just do health per segment. This should just be easier. So Alt health per segment, and then this is going to be the max health divided by a new variable called segment count. Now, this is going to come into handy later. We're going to just now, so we're going to calculate the segment count, but the first thing that's going to happen is that when it comes in, we set the current health via the max health. That just makes it so we know that the health is 100 out of 100, whatever it's going to be for the max health. We'll just put this at 100 so that we know that's different from current health. We have to create segment count. So segment count is actually going to be done before health per segment. I'm going to make it into a macro, but I can build the code here first, and that way it can be seen. Matter of fact, I'll just make the macro just because I know the macro is going to be specifically used only within the actor component. So the macro will only be used here, and it's going to just calculate the segments, which will be able to be called into other actors components and stuff like that. So we're just going to call this calc seg count. Now this is going to be max health. Ooh, sorry, wrong one. Control max health with another float that's called desired health per segment. This is also instant editable and exposed on spawn. Now, what this one is for, and I'm just going to put in the description, this is dev driven amount per segment. So basically, I'm going to be making this from 1 to 10, but however many segments you have, this will help divide the max health by that segment amount so that we know exactly how much of that max health can go into a segment. So, for instance, if it was like 100 and the desired health per segment was 10, then for 10 segment counts, then we know that each segment is 10 health. So, um, we're going to work on the calculation portion just to make it a little bit easier for us. So, first, max health divided by the desired health per segment. So, sorry, control desired health. And there goes that. We're going to seal this, which, ooh, sealing. Yep. So we're going to do a sealing to this. And what a sealing is just making the next step in the float to the positive. So there's ceiling that goes to the positive infinity, and then there's floor, and I'll just show you that because we're going to be using this one later, that goes to the negative infinity. So basically think about if a float needs to round up, you're going to want it to go to the ceiling. If you want it to round down, you're going to want it to go to the floor. And also pay attention to this when it comes to negatives, as this is now inverted. Ceilings will take it to, well, the most positive one, which will be the lowest negative number, where the floor will take it to the most negative number, which will be the highest negative number. So lower negative number, higher negative number, higher positive, lower positive. Get that out of here. We're going to clamp this in integers, and this is going to be 0 to 10. So this is my choice of how I want to run this. So the maximum health divided by how much you want per segment, and I'll just put 10. Matter of fact, I like a little bit more than that just so I can play with it. So I'm just going to say 1,000, and per one, each one is going to be 100. Might have go to 101. Anyway, and then sealed, and then now clamped, and make that into the out, which is going to be the number of segment. Now that this has been handled, we're going to go back to the initialize health, and we're going to just put segment count, calculate seg count, and from there, we're going to make another function called update health UI. Well, initiate health UI and update health UI. So we'll start with initiate health UI, as this is a widget tutorial. This is going to be how we connect to the widget. So we're going to just first finish off with putting these together, and then we'll later move into the widget blueprints, which will be a little bit more complicated but once we have all these set, it should be easy. For initiate health UI and update health UI, we're just going to do one, and I'm going to show you an easy way of making the next one. For initiate health UI, we're going to need some references to the widget that would be used. I make this to be modular so it can be used for any widget. So we're going to just make a health widget ref, and we're just going to call this a user widget, and make sure you choose a user widget instead of a regular widget, as it won't work as well. After you've done that, you're going to just duplicate it and make a health widget class, and you can just switch the reference to class. In here, we're going to get control, drag, right click, and then convert to a validated get, and make sure that this is active. And once this has been validated, what we're going to do is we're going to say, does object implement interface BPI? Oh, well, let's put that in there now. So go back to blueprints. We're going to make a new folder, call it interfaces. We're going to right click and then go to the blueprint drop down, click blueprint interface, call it BPI UI. We're going to put a new function called initiate health. There we go. So you can call these how you want to call them. What the reason why in the component I call it initiate health UI and update health UI, when I'll duplicate it in a second, the initiate health UI, and just initiate health and update health here, is because this is the interface for UI. To me, this means that within this, if I call this, it should stay just for it should say under it BPI UI, and it'll have a little envelope. So I know for a fact that that's the blueprint interface being called. And so that's how I'm just going to organize it. But again, you can choose however you want to name it so that it's not confusing for you. So once I've put both of these in here, we're going to just make inputs for these object types of actor, and we're going to just name it owner. Matter of fact, I can just duplicate. And if you're going to do duplication, try to do that before you make the function, just so there's no naming issues. So after that has been built, which gave us the updated health and the initiate health, we're going to go back here and then just press BPI UI. We're going to press add the return value to the branch, and then put the branch in that is valid. If it is implemented, the interface is implemented, then we should be able to do initiate health. Now, I personally like to put print strings in places so that I can be able to debug. Normally, I'll put it under a gateway called debug, which is a bool that'll just be in the branch, and and I'll make it instant editable. And if debug is clicked, then you'll be able to see all the print strings. If it's not clicked, you won't be able to see it. I think that's convenient, just so if you are seeing any issues and you want to just turn off the or like if you turn off the debug and you're like, well, now what's happening because I changed something, you can just turn back on the debug and check for that component in or actor. And you can do this for all actors. Put a debug variable here, and then, well, I can here. So you would do something like this, instant editable, expose on spawn. And if I was to take this and put it in is not valid, it's true, it would say hello. So I like to change the color to red. Actually, I'll make it an orange. More like a warning. Hey, this is not here. Health widget not valid. In this one, I would say the same thing. Health BPI couldn't do that. BPI UI not implemented. So we'll do something like this, and I'll make this one red so that it's got a sense of urgency because we need the UI to be on there for it to work. Get owner. I'm just gonna close these. I don't actually need the debug because I'm not doing it for this tutorial, but just wanted to show you guys that. From there, I'm gonna just take the health widget ref and then put it under there. So doing this is the same as just drag it from here and putting it in here. It's just a lot neater in my opinion. And so we'll do that. That way it looks clean. Initiate health will now be called. This is the one that's on the BPI UI that I was telling you about. So what's going to happen is when Initiate Health UI is called at the beginning inside Initialize Health, it's going to check to make sure that we have the widget. If we don't, it'll give us a message so that we know to fix it. If it does, then it will check to see if it implements the interface. If it does implement our interface that we just made, then we will try to call Initiate Health that is on the interface and set the owner that would come for the event of BPI UI by the owner of the component. And then this is specifically targeting the health widget reference, which the health widget reference will turn to the WBP enemy health bar. This is specifically done for Initiate Health UI. And now instead of doing all of that again, I'm just going to duplicate it. And within that duplication, I'm just going to just do update health UI. And just for some organization, I'm just going to call this UI, or put this under the category UI. I'm going to also put this under the category UI. I could put this under getters and just for it to have a category health. So that way I can at least close that because it's not needed. I'll keep it a little bit neat. I'll also do that down here. Again, the categories is completely up to you. I like to keep it a little bit organized. That way I can just close that or close this. And I know I'm not using this, but I would put it in debug, and a lot of the times I would move debug so it's up there above everything, so I know, hey, if I need to look for or change this to true, I can easily do that so I can fix it. It's just a helper, but we'll just leave it in there. So now that we have update health UI BPI, this would need to be changed. Don't forget to change this inside update health UI because we duplicated it. This needs to now be, can you guess? Dun 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 dun. Update health. So we're gonna take all of the pins that we had for initiate health, take them off, delete it. Initiate health UI and update health UI is created, so we can do initiate health UI. We're going to want to make some event dispatchers. So on health initialized, this is going to take an input of integer. Um, we'll just call this segment count. I always do that too. You can't drag that and put that there. You have to actually drag the name on health initialized into the graph. You cannot put it on the execute pin or it will try to make a set node for the event dispatcher, which is not what we want. Now that we've got call on initialize, we're going to use the calc seg count for call on initialize. And initialize health has been created and is done. We can go to event graph and then take initialize health and put initialize health here. And now when this runs, it'll automatically set current health by max health, then set health per segment by dividing max health by the number of segments, which is calculated by taking the max health divided by the desired health per segment and then sealing that so it's a positive upward number and then clamping that from 0 to 10 so that it personally that's where I want it within that 10 range. What you could do potentially is make this into its own variable, instant editable and expose on spawn, and you can make a plethora of segments if you want. Ideally, the 0 to 10 just made sense to me, so I'm sticking to that. I would also like to make another getter called get health percentage or get health percent. We're going to put this in the getters and I'm going to put an output. This output is going to be a float and it's going to be HP percent. Just for something short, we're going to take the current health, which since we're still in this component, we don't need to use the function. And then we're going to get max health. We're going to divide the current health by the max health. And then we're going to take that and put it within HP percent, compile, save. We got the initiate health UI and update health UI, get current health, get health percentage, and initialize health. Now, there are some other functions that we do have to build, such as increase health, decrease health, and death. So we'll start with increase and decrease health because I feel like these also marry each other, similar to the initiate health, update health, with some minor differences, of course. So, such as for increased health, it's going to be the healing or heal amount. This amount will be added to, and I'm just going to open this so it's easier to grab, the current health. Now, this would be easy to just say, okay, the healing amount goes straight to the current health and it adds. But what if the current health is already at the max health or really close to the max health? So they're trying to give additional health. So we want to make sure that it's clamped within the float from 0 to max health. So I honestly would probably feel better if I did something like this. And if you're worried about that one line, we can do something about that too. So this is an input function that is basically the same thing. So if I move this here, it'll give me exactly what I was trying to get from just having this to here, this node connect to this node. So now that I've set that up, current health is the max. That's why it's at the bottom. The current health added to the heal amount. Once that has been done, we clamp the amount to make sure that it does not go above max or below 0. We're going to alt drag current health with the clamp to set the current health. From there, we would want to call update health UI. And then another event dispatcher called on health changed. This will take the input of a float, current health, which is Okay. All right. So increase health is done. Current health clamped by the heal amount into the current health to give you your new value, which will go into current health. We will update the health UI, which is set to be able to just communicate. This is just a communicator between the two, the component and the UI. And then this is an event dispatcher for if you need this for any health changing events such as visual effects or audio effects. Now that the increase health is done, we're going to just control D and make decrease health off of this. So this is going to be the damage amount instead. And this is not going to be a plus, it's going to be a subtract. We should be able to just slide that right in there. The max health is as high as the clamp can go for the current health, with 0 being the lowest. We're taking the current health and then subtracting it, and make sure this is very important that current health is the top node and damage amount is the bottom node, because this is PEMDAS. So if you're going to be doing anything, this is the higher number that you should be subtracting from, or you will get a negative. So once you've done that, you clamped, set, update health UI, call on health changed. So all of this stays the same. Then 0. If it is, then the player should die, or the actor should be dead. And if it is dead, then we want to call on death. If not, then we want to make sure that dead as a variable is false, because that means that the blueprint is still alive. So I'm going to put in a new boolean. We're just going to call it be dead question mark. Yes, and I know the question mark is optional. You don't need to do it. Some people think it's silly. Some people really like it. I kind of like the aesthetic of saying, is it dead or is it not dead? But to each their own. So anyway, we're going to put on the false branch. If the current health isn't less than or equal to 0, this is correct. This is just to make sure that it doesn't get stuck. Then after that, we're going to build a new function on death. We'll call it. This is going to be a do once. Within this do once, we're going to make be dead true, and then current health, we're going to zero out so there's no issues, just in case it does bounce into the negative. And then we're going to have another on health depleted dispatcher. So we're just going to pull this in, and the way that this will work is, now that we've made that dispatcher, the call on health, all your visual effects will be on this for death as well. It's very useful within your coding to make sure that, the player is able to see and hear the death cues. So that is increase health, decrease health, and on health. We're going to put all of these within health. The next step that we're going to want to do is go to third person character, just because I'm not going to build an enemy. I'm just wanting to showcase this, so I'm just going to add AC health to the player. And like I was saying, you could change the instance, so I can make this a 5,000. You can also make it dead, but you shouldn't. You can change how many health per segment. You can also change how much is desired per health per segment. Maybe I want 1,000 per segment, but I'm not going to do something like that. I'm going to do 500 so that it stays in the tens. Just leave it at that. In doing that, so over here with the desired health per segment and the max health will only be within this actor, not in the component. So if you were to add this component to a different actor and you adjusted these numbers, it shouldn't on this actor. So now that we have this added here, I might just set this up just so that we don't have to come back for it, and just key L. These are just going to be my debug keys that I can try to increase and decrease the health and see the bar move. So first, we're going to put an L for increase, and matter of fact, we're going to just duplicate and then click the keyboard, and then clicking on the keyboard, pressing M, will allow me to do L and M. So this one will go from AC health, increase health. We're going to make the increase of health 10. So basically if you were to, matter of fact, I'll just do this as 50. And I don't know why I duplicated it because I need decrease. And we'll do 50 for this as well. Okay. So this specifically is your way of checking if it works. You're most likely going to put this on your components such as like a health pack here or a spell, and this one specifically on a sword or any of the damage dealing blueprints. So from there, we are done within the third person character for now. We're going to now start building the UI. So we're going to start with the ones that go within the UI first, and then after that, we're going to go with the wrapper, basically. We're going to make a new folder, UI. Within this, we're going to make a user interface. We're going to start with the main health bar. So I'm just going to call this WBP E main health bar. Just in case, you got the health bar for the player as well in your project. So we're just gonna do progress bar. This just needs to be a progress bar. And I like to move the percent so I know how far it's moving. And if we're talking about specifically the Kingdom Hearts bar, it goes from right to left, technically left to right, because it's going to be decreasing, not increasing. So from there, we're going to change the color to a more greenish health color. We'll leave this here like that. We're gonna go to the background. The background's too bright. I want to make it dark. We want the main bar to be a rounded box, and within that, we are going to want the outline to be 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, and 12.5. Make it with 3, maybe a 10. We'll start with the 12.5 and see how it works. Let's see. We just gotta paste this here. We're just gonna copy this and paste it into the outline. Make the outline a 3. And same here. So I think this should work the way that I want it to. I don't think it moves too much in this department, and I'm not going to hype on it too much. So, so if we need to adjust it, we will adjust it. I believe everything in here is good for now. So what we're gonna do is just change this to E main health bar. That way we can easily find it. So the next thing we're gonna need to do is make another health bar. This is gonna be WBP enemy health segment or E health segment if you want. So this will be a little bit different. It's E health segment. These are going to go into a horizontal box on the main health widget. Not too much is going on here other than the fact that this is going to just be a regular box on both sides. This looks good for now. Okay, so this is E health segment. This is E health main health bar. So now we need the wrapper. And the wrapper is going to make it so that everything works and all the functions are within that wrapper. And we're just going to call this WBP enemy health. And within here, actually, before I get to that, this is actually within a size box because it needs to be within a size box prior to um, being added to the horizontal box. So we're just going to wrap it with, because this is the only way you can do this for size box, is wrap with size box. And now I'm going to make the width and height override 25. So now that that's been done, we're going to come back into enemy health that we just made. We're going to make a canvas panel. This canvas panel is going to go on first, and then from there we're going to add WBP main health bar, and then we're going to add a horizontal box. We're going to call this the health segments box, and we'll make that a variable. So both of these are going to be anchored to the right, and then we can just clear. I'm going to move the box down as I want to start with the health bar first. So I'm just going to make the health bar a little bit bigger, a little. And then I'm just going to put the horizontal box right under it. I think that's good. So now that we've designed enemy health, we are now going to do some more functions within the graph of that UI. So the first thing you're going to want to do is going to go to the class settings. Within class settings, you're going to look for BPI UI. We don't need any of these. We will use initiate health. Initiate health, we're going to want to do is valid. If it's not valid, we're going to print in string WBP enemy health, which is the blueprint that it's in. And then I'm going to say owner is not available. IH. After that, we want to make sure that they have the component for the health actor component. So we're going to do get component by class, and then find the health component. We're going to promote this to a variable, call it target AC health. And then off of the valid execute pin, we're going to just set AC health. We're going to make a new function called initiate. I know you're probably tired of me saying initiate and update. Initiate health bar. This way it's specifically different. Within health bar, we're going to make variable UI segment count. This is going to be set by our desired health per segment within our component. So cal seg count, we can make this into a getter function as well. Get desired segment count. We'll just put this in the getter real quick. And then the output's going to be segment count integer. We'll take the calc seg. Since this should not be called prior to AC component being made and being able to do the calculations, we shouldn't have an issue doing this. We're going to make this pure. Don't ever forget to make it pure. This one wasn't pure, so let's just make sure that we come back in here and do that real quick. Within initiate health bar, we want to set UI health segment. We're going to do so with a new function on AC health called get desired segments health. So within this is going to be a getter function, so we can just put it in the getters. We can make this pure. The output will be a float, and it'll be called the segment output. This is going to take the max health and then divide it by the desired. Cool. So this should help. So let's say 5,000 divided by 500 will equal 10. So this will let us know how many segments that it should be. And then what you do is you come back over to the WBP enemy health. Within this, you're going to take the target active component is get calculated seg count, which is going to be a pure. It's going to take an integer, and then it's going to take the number of segments into that, and then we'll just put number of segments output. Okay, from there, we're going to take this and get calculated segment count, and we're going to put that right into we're going to put that straight into UI segments, just like that. I might actually take away the floor, but we'll see. I'm not married to this being the way that it is, and I'm okay with updates as we do this. So the next thing that's going to be needed is to make the fill percentage for this. So we're going to take the component and get health per segment. This is going to divide the current health. So get current health, divide, then the health per segment. I'm just going to organize this real quick. And then we're going to clamp, float. This will be 0 to 1 just because we want this to be a percentage. And then we're going to promote fill percentage. Won't make it local just because it'll also be in the update health bar function, which will also be made. So once that has been set the way that it has been, we can get the main health bar and do set per. Hold on. Get the main health main health bar, then get main health bar, then set percent. We're going to take this, put this at set percent. Going to take fill percentage and set it up like that. Then we're going to do a for loop from the first index to the last index of UI segment count minus 1. Okay. In the loop body, you're going to want to create widget. And which widget we're going to be doing is the segment. So WBPE health segments. This is going to be, the owner is going to be the player controller. After that has been made, we're going to need to make another variable. This variable is going to be an array of the health segments, WBP health segments, and we're going to make this the WBPE health segments, and then from single to an array, we're going to get the health segment box, and then add child to horizontal box. And we'll just put that in there, and then WBP health segments we're going to add. And do a little rerouting just to make it look nice. Okay. Okay. And now, just to go through this, initiate the health bar. We're going to get the calculated segment count from the health component and then fill this U variable on within the blueprint. We're going to also get from the health component the health per segment as well as current health, divide those, take that integer and have that as the fill percentage. That fill percentage is then going to set the percentage within the main health bar, and then we're going to do a for loop for the UI segment count up into the last index, and then we're going to create the widgets that were to go into the child box, and then add to an array of WP health segments. Now, the reason why we're adding it to an array here is because in Kingdom Hearts, the bar depletes from left to right, not right to left. Now, if without the reverse, they will deplete from right to left. Now, if this is something that you want, by all means, you do not have to add this part at the end. But if you're looking for more so exactly how Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 has it, then you're going to want to do the reverse for the array of WBP health segments. So just make sure this is clean. Okay, so that's initiate health bar. We're going to get into update health. Now, update health. Oh, so I didn't specifically finish initiate health bar. I mean, event initiate health as we finish health bar. So, health bar should be initiated after making sure that AC health is valid. We can't do anything without it being valid. None of the numbers will be correct. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy, paste it, and say owner doesn't have AC health. There we go, AC health. That way we can just identify and make it work. So we're just gonna copy this, just duplicate it for update health, and we'll just put this for you, because everything's the same. But if I make an I, I'll know it's initiate, and a U for update. So there we go for that. Initiate health is going to be changed to update health bar. Now this actually doesn't get duplicated. So if you duplicated it, I apologize. I duped you. You're going to do branch, and this branch is to check to make sure that the segment count is not equal to 0. So if it's not equal to 0, then you can continue moving forward with the function. If it is equal to 0, WBP enemy health UHB, just so I know it's in that function. No segment counts, or segment counts equals 0. There. So if it doesn't end up equaling 0, then you're going to take AC target health and then do get health per segment. Matter of fact, we can just take this from uh, initiate health bar. So it's this function of current health divided by health per segment, then clamped, but this will be floored. So we're just going to copy this and then come to update health bar and paste. We're going to move this clamp and give it a floor. And then, can I switch it? Nope, can't switch it. So it was worth a shot. Clamp integer, don't need the 64. Okay. All right. So health per segment, which is, let's just get a refresher on health per segment real quick. see, where's this being taken care of? In initialize health. So health per segment is the max health divided by the segment count. That is health per segment. Current health is divided by the health per segment, and then that is floored. Once it's done being floored, it is clamped. And then we take segment count and then subtract it by 1, and that is added as the max. We're going to promote this into a new variable called current segment index. And I have to organize these variables because there's a lot of them in here now. So let me see. Health bar, put that in there. That way it's just there. Segments. There. Okay. Now that I'm done doing that, we're going to get the health per segment from our health component. We are going to multiply the current segment index by the health per segment. The current segment index times health per segment. This is then subtracted by the current health, but it's the opposite. The current health is subtracted by this sum. And so let's see. Get current health and see if we can just, there we go. Just clean it up a bit. I know this is weird. So if you want, you can make another one. You definitely want to stay organized because there is a lot going on here. So, and then after that, we're going to do a promote a variable for health and current segment, which is what this calculation is. We get the health and segment by subtracting current health from the sum of current segment index multiplied by the health per segment. Then we will take that health and current segment. We're going to then, hold on, get health and current segment. We're going to divide it by health and health per segment. This is going to be clamped, float, and then set as the fill percentage. Just organize it real quick. All right, and now that we have done that, we're going to grab the main health bar, take the main health bar and set the percentage of the main health bar. We're going to take the fill percentage and fill the 10%. And then, hold on, just organize that as much as I can. Then we're going to do a for each loop. This is for the WBP health segments. This is going to be 4 branches. Take the array element, the array index, and just pull them out real quick. Organize. We're going to make the first branch up top. This is going to be if the current segment index is greater than the array index. So if the array index is less than the current segment index, we're going to take this and go upward, as this is going to be our first branch of understanding if we can fill the segments. So I'm getting the health segments from the array elements. I'm going to take this and then do set percent. This should be 1, meaning that we're not on that specific segment. So it should be 1. If this fails, and then we take another branch, This branch will need a new variable, as this is for a second branch of what the segment boxes should be doing during that time period. I think I spoke about it at the beginning of the recording that this would make it so that it will either decrease with the main bar or decrease blink from 1 to 0. So we're going to need to go back to AC health. We can make another boolean, just duplicate this one if you want, and we'll just call this segment sync. Okay, so we're gonna go back over to enemy health. We're going to grab, where is it? I mean, I could have just grabbed it from here, but get segment. I got it either way. So get segment, you'll put that on the branch. From there, there's another branch. This branch will be for if it equals to the current segment. Let's see. I'm just gonna try to get this. You know what? We'll do something like that. And that way I do move it up. Um, yep, that's fine. And then from this branch, if it is equal to the current segment, we're going to get another e health segment. From there, you can duplicate the set health, set percent as well. And this is going to be in the target. And then we're going to take the fill percentage, because this should move as we increase or decrease the health. So if it is segment synced, then it will set it via the fill percentage. All right, and we'll do the last branch. This last branch is another set percent. Um, we'll just duplicate this and then grab that line. Just get this out of here. And we'll just say that this is, I really shouldn't get these because this is all inclusive of all the cases, but it's nice to have just in case. So this all should work correctly. So let's see what's wrong. Oh, yeah, that'll do it. So from there, I'm going to need to now show that UI. So I'm going to go into the player character. I'm just gonna, I'll make a function, custom event even, initiate health UI, get player pawn. Okay. We're gonna take this, cast it to third person. I normally don't do cast, as I try to do as little as possible. This shouldn't be too bad because it's the player character and the controller. From here, you would use this and get AC health. I'm just going to promote this. And then I'm going to also create widget and then add to viewport. Just do that real quick. And this should be WP enemy health bar. So this will now need to be called here. Okay, initiate health UI. And then we're just gonna add that and then branch. So it should show up. Okay, it did show up. Health widget is not valid. Says, we sure about that? This one here. Where's that? Let's see. We'll do IH. Just to double confirm. IH, yep. This is not being set in a way that makes it easier for it to be noticed. So let me see. So I just checked something. We may want to come in here to this and just make sure we're doing an is valid before we're doing that add to child. So it should be valid, but you never know. If it's not valid, we'll just print a string and it'll say health segments not valid. And we'll do WBP enemy health. I'll fix this. Okay. And now, okay. So that's just the catch, just in case it states that health segment is not valid. Um, this should, for the most part, work. Believe we have everything set up. So there's Initiate Health UI that I built over here, which is, well, I don't want it to cast, well, it'll cast the one time and then grab the health component. It'll then initialize health. Which initiate health should initiate the UI, initiate the UI, initiate health. This one. I technically don't need to have either of these except for customizing it. Everything's in this wrapper, so let's see. Okay. So adding it to the horizontal box, and then we're reversing it, and then add to at the viewport. Oh, sorry, wasn't fully done. We're just gonna take that out for now. I just want to see where we are in the process. Okay, health widget not valid. I think I need to be in there. I just closed it. Okay. And I'll probably cut most of this so that we can get right to it. Just gonna take that off. Just gonna do some troubleshooting just to make sure everything is working. Okay. The health widget is not being set. Um, so the issue that we're having right now is that this is not being set somewhere. So we have to set this. So we'll make another function. We're gonna call this the create and show health bar. Now this is the function that is used that I'm using to call whenever I'm using it in a lock system. So what you will do is you'll get the reference is valid. If it's not valid, then we will look into getting the widget class ref validated, and then we're going to create user widget via that class widget. Again, you can just do it like this if you want, and then by the get owner, oh, we'll just do actor. Okay, get owner. All right, compile first. Okay. All right. Just fix that real quick. So from there, we're going to set health widget branch does implement object interface BPI UI. We're going to connect this, and then we're going to initiate health UI add to viewport. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, add to viewport the reference. And so this is show and create and show. We're going to put this on, yeah, we're going to put this over here because I don't think that was working because the initialize health is specifically for event begin play. So that should work that way. Let me just double confirm over here. Owner is just an actor, which we said was the owning player. Ooh, which is supposed to be, oh, this is a player controller, not an actor. And so now, if I compile, I should be able to we'll just refresh all the nodes real quick. There we go. Because it wasn't letting me before, but now that it's set, and I shouldn't have to put anything in, it should just be able to notice it. Let me see, make sure everything else is still connected to, no, shouldn't matter. Okay, so, let's see. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, just specifically for this moment, I'm just gonna have to do WBP enemy health. That'll make it valid. Interesting. Let's see. As we can see, that's not working. So 1 second. Okay, so I finally got it to move. It looks like what was happening was that within Initiate Health UI, we weren't adding it to the viewpoint. So what happens is that once we've initiate Health UI on the controller, once we've gotten the health component, we create and show the health bar. We initiate the health UI and then we add it to the viewport. And once it's been added to the viewport, from there, it should work whenever we press the button to increase and decrease the health. It is decreasing, but it is also increasing the segments. I believe that's because of the desired health. I moved this back to what, 500? I got the segment count to 10. The max health is, yep, I'll do 100. For now, we're going to close this out. I'll be back to finish this tomorrow. All right. So after going to sleep and waking up and noticing what I was doing wrong, I was trying to actually change the desired health amount and the max health amount on the component rather than on the actor. So you have to go to the actor component and go in and change it on the component. If it's 500 here and the desired health per segment is 500 here, then you will see one segment as the math is being done on the component and then going into the UI and telling the UI how many segments there should be. So if I had the max health of 500 and let's say 250 was per what I desired per segment, then I can compile, open it, and now I have two segments. Now, if I was to try to break it, let's say I went for 150 equal. No, it's 4. Hold on. Technically, it's a little bit over. So this is why you want to make sure that if you're doing it with intention of making sure that these two numbers actually coincide. So if I want 500, the desired, I want 50 each. This will give me 10. I'm sure you're probably wondering, dang, that bar looks sexy. I did tweak this a little bit, and I will be going over that in a bit. So just just bear with me. This was one of those issues that we were having. I'm just gonna clean this up real quick. So the third player code should work. Casting to the third person, getting their health component, setting that health component as the health component variable on the controller, then creating and showing the health bar off of AC Health, then initiating the health UI, and then adding it to the viewport. Now, within initiating the health UI, we're going to be getting initiate health. This should all look familiar. We're going to go to the event graph. Now, I did update some things. I did leave a message earlier in the video about this specific one needing to not be initiate health bar, but update health bar. I did also take out the is valid from the owners here and then replace the is valid for event initiate health with a delay. Now the delay is specifically because of the fact that I'm not putting this on an enemy and then calling it. So there's not enough time for when I'm pressing start in the editor for the editor to say, oh, this bar has all the information that it needs from the variables that you set as it's still calculating those variables, but it's starting with the UI first. If we give it that 0.2-second delay, then it should pop up with no errors for the segment box or no errors for the main health bar as it had enough time to load. If you have questions about it, please leave a comment in the section below and I will 100% get back to you and try to work it through to make sure that the UI works as intended. I think that's it for the enemy health. This should work completely as intended. I did take off the reverse, and I will explain that as well. This was a choice because of the fact that we're actually moving where the horizontal box is, or how it sets up. So basically, I changed the horizontal box, and I'm just going to show you. So I changed its transform scale. So on the x-axis, I made it a -1 so that it was flipped on the x-axis. So right now, this is what it looks like on the normal axis, and this is probably what you see, where it's kind of like in the middle of the bar. And I took off the reverse, and without the reverse, this is how it decreases. It goes from right to left, which we want it to go left to right. So let me see. I'm just going to fill, which is interesting. We'll work on that as well. The filling in health. So I think that's basically the same as if you're going to do set fill percentage. It's just set fill percentage for the main bar. I'm going to go to the enemy health bar. The reverse was taken off. And if the reverse was left on, and this is probably what you see, the reverse is left on, it still depletes it in the correct direction, but it is in the middle of the bar instead of it being off to the right, like in KH2 and KH3. Now back in here, we're gonna just flip the scale one more time. From there, just to make sure that it works as intended. Okay, so I will say that on the here, it is just massively killing the health. This is because I had it set for a higher health other than 500. I had it set for 2500. I never made that 5. So let's see. Okay, that works. Now, is the segment health bar also in the wrong direction? Oh, yes. So this, because it's on a -1 scale, we're going to need to go from left to right. So there we go. That just makes the function work correctly. We're now going to go ahead and start talking about why, just fixing my UI so it looks good. We'll start with the main bar. I went ahead and did some adjustments to the actual widgets. So just the widgets alone, I'm just going to focus on the widgets because at this point, functions should work. If your functions are not working, like I said earlier, please let me know in the comments below. That way we can pow out and make sure that it works correctly for you. And let's get into exactly what I did to customize this compared to what was done before. The first thing I will say is that before I had a rounded box for the main health bar, but I didn't have a rounded box for the segments, but this one is a rounded box, as you can see, rounded box. And yeah, it doesn't look like a rounded box, but we'll get to that in a second. So I changed the tint to this darker tint because I wanted it to look like when this was depleted. I know in like KH1 it's like this, but I didn't want that. I didn't want a completely dark. I wanted it to look more like KH3, where it was like you could see through the UI to be able to see more of the world rather than it take away from the world. It's a rounded box. I changed only the tint, the outline, and the width. So the width is 3. And I made sure to do the same thing over here. This outline is the same as this outline. Want to make sure that it looks flush. Same height, rounding type from the half height radius as well as the width being 3. So that's the main health bar and what I did to change that. Other than that, come over to the health segments. So inside the health segments, we did make these rounded boxes. These are rounded boxes with the same tint as the main health bar as the backing, just so that it looks cohesive. Drawn as a rounded box. Corner radiuses are 2, 1, 2, and 2. And the width, you could probably just make this 2, 2, 2, and 2, but I think 2, 1, 2, 2 looks nice personally. It's a very slight difference. And the width is 2.5. You could probably make this 3. Just all your preference. And then this is also the same as the main health bar, again, to just make it look cohesive. Don't forget to change the for just the health segment. Change the rounding type to fixed radius. If you do not, then it's going to look kind of weird, which is what I showcased the first time. And I'll showcase a little bit of that right now. And I think that this looks better. It looks more cohesive. It looks professional, and if it was added to the game, I wouldn't feel like it takes away. Rather, it would give, as it would show up, show you what the health is. You'll be able to take from the health or add to the health, you're going to be able to go to the player or whatever actor it is on and decide if you want it to have that sync action or if you want it to just go from 0 to 1. Doesn't look bad in itself and is what I'm used to seeing, where it looks like you're really doing a lot of damage and going ahead and trying to kill the enemy, and you're watching that health deplete and getting the dopamine from just doing that. Um, so this was fun and I enjoyed it a lot. Glad that you came and enjoyed my first video on YouTube. Hoping to really get more into these game dev system creation videos and just showcase a little bit more about Surf Special. Please also let me know what you would like to see. You have a wonderful day and be safe. Love y'all.